little bit. It's kinda warm out here, so I think that might be the difference.
But I think there was one of them.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't bad at first, but it got warm again.
We'll call to order the City of Douglasville City Council regular meeting for tonight, which is Monday, February the 19th, 2024. Happy President's Day. We apologize for our late start. We did have committee meetings that ran over, and so we had to have a recess before our voting meeting, so we apologize and thank you for your patience. First of all, we'll have our invocation, which will be done by Reverend Brian Berryhill of Heritage Baptist Church. After that, we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by the Mayor Pro Tem City Councilmember Terry Miller. Please stand for the invocation.
Dear Lord and Heavenly Father, we come to you again tonight, thankful for another opportunity to call on your name. Just asking you, Lord, for a hedge of protection about our community, and Lord, just each and every voted official, and Lord, this council meeting tonight, I pray your protection upon it. And I just pray your will would be done in each one of our lives. Show us the error of our ways that we might better serve you. And we ask all this in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, for leading us in the pledge. And Pastor Berryhill, we really appreciate you coming in and giving us the invocation. I'd like to welcome you to the Douglasville City Council regular meeting this evening. My name is Rochelle Robinson. I'm Mayor of the City of Douglasville. This is a City Council regular meeting of agenda items that official action will be taken on this evening on the items that were discussed last Thursday at our legislative work session. If the business you're here for is not listed as an agenda item, there will be ample time under the agenda item comments from citizens and delegates for you to discuss your business. I'll go over a few protocol issues for this evening, and then we will jump right into our business of the meeting that is on the agenda. I'd ask that you please keep your comments and presentations on a professional level, dealing with the facts that are important for this governing body to make our decisions. We will not accept comments that are considered by the chair to be of a personal attack on any individual or group of individuals. If you deviate from that warning, a second deviation will result in not having the conversation continue. We'll turn your microphone off. Only one person speaking at a time, please. Please do not applaud or react to speakers or speak from the audience or hold a conversation while you're at the microphone. When you come to the microphone, please give us your name and address for the record, and then you have 5 minutes to speak to us. We're only required to accept public comments during the required public hearings. And if you have a cell phone or electronic device, I ask that you would please put those in silent mode or turn those off until after the meeting is over, so they will not be disruptive. This is how the agenda items will be handled this evening. The committee chairperson or vice chair will read the agenda item, and then that person representing that agenda item or client or applicant will come forward and give us their presentation. Myself and council members will possibly ask clarifying questions to help us make our decision this evening. This is a voting meeting, so we're really only here to accept new comments on information that was presented last Thursday. After that, the committee chairperson will make his or her recommendation. If it's a public hearing, you'll have 20 minutes for those to speak in favor of the item and 20 minutes for those to speak in opposition, and each person has 5 minutes. If you have more people that will take up the 20-minute time frame, we ask that people will take 3 minutes apiece or so, but in totality, you have 20 minutes in favor and 20 minutes for opposition. Each person has one opportunity to speak. When you come to the microphone, we have a speaker card that is out on the desk. It's a blue card. We ask that you would fill that speaker card out, hand it to our city clerk, Ms. Vicki Acker, to my right, and then come to the microphone, please, in front of me at the podium, give your name and address, and then you can commence with having a conversation with us. This is not a question and answer format or debate. We're not here to deliberate and have a big conversation or argument. We just want to hear the information so that we can better make a decision. If you have printed material, please hand that to our city clerk. That's a whole lot of talking. Hopefully we're all on the same page for the information that I've disseminated this evening, and we can get into the body of the meeting. We do have paper agendas that are outside if you like to have a paper agenda on the desk, but if not, you can follow us on the screen that's above me. And again, we welcome you to the meeting, and now we will move on with the next agenda item, which is announcements and presentations. We do not have any presentations. I've just gone over the announcements. So now we will move on to item number 5, which is approval of the minutes. I will open the floor for an adoption of the regular meeting agenda for February 19th, 2024. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you. I have a motion to adopt the regular minutes from February 19th, 2024. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. It's been properly moved by Councilmember Estes and second by Mayor Pro Tem Miller to adopt the regular meeting agenda for tonight, which is February 19th, 2024. Do we have any discussions, comments, or concerns from council? I don't see any. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The adoption of the regular meeting has been unanimously approved. I'll move on then to approval of the minutes. I will open the floor for a motion to approve the minutes of February 1st, 2024 legislative work session and minutes of February 5th, 2024 regular meeting and executive session. Open the floor for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Watts. It's been motion and second by Mayor Pro Tem and second by Councilmember Watts to approve the minutes for February 1st and the 5th of 2024. Any corrections, deletions, concerns as relates to the minutes from the executive body? I don't see any. All those in favor of approving this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Item 24-041 is unanimously approved. Now I will move on to the consent agenda. I have a motion on the floor. I open the floor for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So move.
Thank you, Councilman Davis. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Estes. It's been properly moved in second, moved by Councilmember Samuel Davis and second by Councilmember Howard Estes to approve the consent agenda. Do I have any corrections, comments, or concerns as it relates to this agenda item? I don't see any. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The consent agenda is unanimously approved. We are now on item number 8, which is Economic Development Committee, and that's chaired by City Council Member Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under the Economic Development Committee at this time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Finance Committee, chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight in finance.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on from Chris Watts, Councilman, to Housing and Community Affairs Committee. The chair is Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Housing and Community Affairs Committee has no business this evening.
Thank you so much, Councilman Estes. Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee, chaired by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem City Councilmember Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under the Legislative and Intergovernmental Committee at this time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Personnel and Organization Committee, chaired by Councilmember Howard Estes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business for the Personnel and Organization Committee tonight.
Thank you so much, sir. So we do have Planning and Development Committee, and the vice chair is Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have
You're
one
welcome.
item tonight. Item A, to consider whether to accept the petition of Mason Malfris to annex 21.3 acres of land located near the northeast intersection of Malone Road and Linecrest Drive in land lot 646, District 18, Section 2, parcel ID 064618200001 and 0646182002 and 0646182003 and land lot 647, District 18, Section 2, parcel ID 0647182001 and 0647182002 and land lot District 703, District 1, Section 3, parcel ID 0700301 30006, Douglas County, Georgia, into the city limits of the city of Douglasville. And Ms. Reed, go ahead.
Greetings, Mayor and Council. Shayla Reed, 6695 Church Street. I'm your Community Development Director. As mentioned last week, this item is proposed to have a townhome development along Malone Road. That is particularly where That development will take place. They're asking to annex this property into the city. So this is just a conversation to see if we're able to accept the application. After the annexation application is accepted, we move it forward to the county and the school system for their review. And then that's pretty much where we are right now.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Reed. So we're just considering to accept their application so that this could follow the process. Any questions or comments from council? All right, with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to approve item 24-035.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice Chair. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Davis. It's been moved by the Vice Chair, Councilmember Chris Watts, and second by Councilmember Samuel Davis to approve item 24-035. We've heard from Director Reed. Are there any other questions or comments from council members? I don't see any. All those in favor of approving this item, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 24-035 is unanimously approved.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and that's all we had tonight in planning and development.
Thank you so much for handling that committee for me, Vice Chair, and thank you, Director Reed, for bringing that information to us. We'll move on then to item number 14, which is Public Improvement and Beautification Committee. And the Vice Chair for that committee is Councilmember Elena Hudson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under Public Improvement and Beautification Committee at this time.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Hudson. I appreciate that, Madam Vice Chair. We move on to Public Relations Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Sam Davis.
No business at this time, thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilman Davis. We'll move on then to Public Safety Committee, which we have, is that right? Did it update? Oh, Transportation. I see it now, I apologize. Transportation, the Vice Chair for Transportation is Mayor Pro Tem City Councilmember Terry Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business under the Transportation Committee at this time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice Chair. Appreciate that, Mayor Pro Tem. Now we're at item number 19, which is,
I'm sorry, we skipped over 17 and 18.
I did?
Skipped over here.
Oh, you know what?
Well,
I have to refresh my computer. I apologize.
18 is Transportation, 17 is Technology. I think
Now, I just now updated it, so I apologize. I was reading the wrong thing. Please forgive me. So we'll move back then. We have two more committees to go through. Recreation, Culture, and Tourism Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business tonight. Recreation, Culture, and Tourism.
Thank you so much. Technology Committee, chaired by Councilmember Elena Hudson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no new business under the Technology Committee.
Thank you so much. And we have already covered transportation, and that was Vice Chair, Mayor Pro Tem, and now we're at item number 19, and I apologize for the confusion. We changed to have our Public Safety Committee last, and I hadn't updated my computer, so my iPad. So Public Safety Committee, the Vice Chair is Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome.
And I think we said that we would reverse A and B, or at least, okay. So I'm going to start with item B, which, well, it's been updated. Okay, we'll start with item A.
I know, it's
Consider a
confusing.
request for the alcoholic beverage license for on-premise sale and consumption of wine and malt beverages and spirituous liquor at the following establishment. Proposed licensee, The Kitchen Bar and Grill LLC, location 8252 Dallas Highway. Proposed agent outlet manager, Gregory Usry. The required fees have been paid into the finance department. And Mr. Usry, would you like to come forward and state your name and address for the record? And if there's any new information or anything you'd like to say that you didn't get to say the other night.
Okay, my name is Gregory Usry, 8252 Dallas Highway here in Douglasville. And so I would like to say we had a soft opening last week and we had a great response. It was overwhelming, to be honest with you. So
Oh, great.
That's great.
they received us well.
Congratulations. Good.
Okay, any questions or comments from council? Anybody? Okay. All right, I would like to make a motion to approve item 24-032.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I have a motion to approve. Mr. Vice Chair, I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Davis. It's been properly moved and second, moved by the Vice Chair, Councilmember Chris Watts, and second by or questions or concerns from council? I don't see any. All those in favor of approval of item 24-032, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. 24-032 is unanimously approved. Congratulations, Mr.
Great,
Esri.
thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome to the city of Douglasville.
Welcome to the New Horizon community.
All right, Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
item B is to consider the revocation of the alcoholic beverage license of Viking Ventures LLC, DBA Highlanders Tavern and Grill. And I'm going to turn this over at this time to Ms. Miranda Jordan.
Okay.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Miranda
evening.
Jordan, 6695 Church Street. At the legislative work session on Thursday, we paused the public hearing and allowed for additional time for any new evidence to come forward if either side had any new evidence that they wanted to present regarding the revocation of the alcoholic beverage license of Highlanders. So at this time, I would ask anyone who is here to testify as a witness to stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you are going to give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. You may be seated. And Mr. Vice Chair, at this time, I would like to ask that we hear some testimony from Deputy Chief J.R. Davidson regarding clarification on some of the events that happened on January 20th, 2024 at Highlanders.
On January 20th, undercover agents went inside Highlanders, and they immediately smelled marijuana. They observed a waitress rolling and smoking a marijuana blunt with a customer near the back door. One of the agents, while he was seated at his table, was approached by another patron and offered to smoke marijuana with her. He declined. She did tell him that the marijuana was from Tennessee. The cook at the establishment was observed going into the kitchen after the kitchen was closed and came out with some type of bag and handed it to a second male, who then exited the restaurant and was observed in the parking lot by other undercover agents, who then approached a vehicle and gave that bag to the person inside that vehicle. That vehicle was later stopped some distance away from the bar, and the person was arrested for possession of marijuana. The cook was also seen after that transaction took place, smoking marijuana inside the bar, and he had a satchel that he kept after the kitchen closed, that he kept around his chest area. The cook, after he left the establishment that night, was stopped some distance away from the restaurant, and inside that satchel was found cocaine, empty plastic bags, a spoon, and a digital scale.
Thank you. Mr. Fowler, do you have any follow-up questions on that information?
If I may. Excuse me, what was your name again, sir?
J.R. Davidson.
So it's
J.R. Davidson.
Davidson, thank you. What were the dates in question?
That particular date was January 20th of 2024.
All of that occurred on January the 20th, 2024?
Yes.
Were any arrests made?
Yes.
Who was the individual that was arrested?
The individual, the only name I know is Tyler Blair.
Had he been previously arrested for any other offenses?
I don't know.
He was not.
Are you asking me if he had a previous criminal history?
I'm asking you if after that event he had been arrested for any other offenses.
Not that I'm aware of.
Was he charged with cocaine possession on a different date? Not that I'm aware of.
Who are the individuals that were at the Highlanders Sports Bar and Grill that night on behalf of the City of Douglasville Police or Sheriff's Department?
They were undercover agents from the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. I
Do you
don't
know-
know all their names.
You don't know their names?
No.
Is that in your report?
We would not be able to disclose that information pursuant to the same reasons that were given on Thursday night due to the sensitive nature of an ongoing investigation.
Was any of this information provided to the city prior to last Thursday's hearing? Mr. Davison?
It was provided to me several days before that, but I don't remember what day.
Did anybody inform Highlanders prior to the hearing Thursday or the hearing tonight that those activities had been taking place?
I believe that you had actually mentioned the names of Tyler Blair, Lisa Thornton, and Mr. Henry in your statement on Thursday. So that was information that was regarding the people that had been arrested. So obviously, there was an opportunity for Highlanders to know that information since you presented that information to our city council on Thursday.
What are the status of the charges at this point?
I looked into the court records today for Mr. Tyler Blair, who is the cook. He has not yet been arraigned in that matter, but he has. There is the arrest documentation that is currently confidential because it's part of an ongoing investigation as part of that criminal case. But it's all anything that was public for that court file, I was able to review.
So the city is using it prior to a conviction to remove the alcohol beverage license of this organization, and we don't know the full details about the disposition of those charges.
There's only been testimony about what was observed and what happened with a subsequent arrest. The burden in a revocation of this nature is not going to be the same as a burden in a criminal conviction or a criminal case. This is a civil matter, but this is also not something that's subject to any Civil Practice Act under the state laws.
So based on the city's refusal to provide information about the people that are allegedly engaged in inappropriate conduct at Highlanders, the city is relying on testimony of persons who have not yet been convicted. And yet the city is seeking to remove the license of an entity that's been in operation for 13 years in this community based on statements by 2 police officers who've testified about persons who've not been convicted.
And again, the due process requirements for this matter are not the same as they would be in a criminal or even a civil case in a court of law. This is not a court of law. And in fact, when Nicholas McCullough signed his alcohol application in 2011, he agreed to abide by all city codes. He agreed to abide by state and federal law as well. And just by itself, the serving alcohol to a minor violates that. But we're not looking at convictions here. We're looking at actions that happened at Highlanders, whether they resulted in an arrest or not. Testimony has been given about those actions that happened at Highlanders, which are illegal acts. Again, the importance of any kind of conviction, any kind of resolution to those cases is irrelevant here.
I'm looking at the notice that the city provided to Highlanders about these charges. It's dated February the 5th, and it states the following: Notice of hearing to revoke alcohol license for Highlanders Tavern and Grill. Dear Viking Ventures LLC, DBA Highlanders Tavern and Grill. The City of Douglasville will hold a public hearing on February 15, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers of Douglasville Conference Center, 6700 Church Street, Douglasville, Georgia, to consider the permanent revocation of an alcohol license for Viking Ventures LLC, DBA Highlanders Tavern and Grill, pursuant to Section 10-24B of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Douglasville, which reads as follows. Section 10-24, suspension and revocation of licenses. B, action by council. The city council shall have full power of authority to revoke, refuse to renew, suspend, or place on probation any licensee to sell alcoholic beverages for violations of this code or for the state or federal laws, or when continued operation of the licensed business is detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the public. Before taking any such action, the council shall require a hearing before it, at least 5 days' notice of which shall have been given to the affected licensee, and it was signed by the city. There have been no violations of Georgia law found at this point, only charges, no violations.
Violation does not equal to the word conviction. So again, the actions that took place are violations of Georgia law.
But no convictions.
No, and that's not required under our code.
Do you have any authority that says that's not required?
That's not required under our code.
Has the city ever revoked a license of a licensee, such as Highlanders in this case, based on charges of this nature?
Based on charges alone without a conviction, yes.
What are the
Because
other-
it's not required.
When has that happened in the city?
The most recent one was the Chapel Hill Package Store. Their license was revoked after an incident where a person had bought alcohol underage at the store. And subsequently, there was a related death. That was done within a short period of time after that incident.
How long ago was that?
I can't be sure. It was more than 5 years ago.
More than 5 years ago.
Yes.
Has this entity had any violations in the past in the 13 years of their history? Has Highlanders?
Our police department and the sheriff's department are not on site day after day. In fact, on these 3 occasions, on December 9th, December 19th, 2023, and January 20th, 2024, those were all prompted by anonymous tips that were called in for investigation. And the deputy chief can share with council some information regarding various calls in the last 5 years, from January 1st of 2019 to the present day, regarding incidents that have happened at Highlanders, and I'll allow him to share with that at this time.
So I have calls for service from 911 for 5 years. And in that 5-year time period, there have been 23 fight calls. There was a 24th fight that we know of, which no employees called 911 about, where a person was punched in the face and fell and went unconscious. He was then put into a vehicle and driven home, where he later passed away from his injuries. And in the video, the surveillance video from that call, a person can be seen rolling a leafy substance in a smoking paper in the surveillance video.
What's the date of that?
That was in July of 2021.
So
There,
2.5 years ago.
correct.
Why didn't the city take action at that point?
The city did take action. They made an arrest.
Why didn't you take any action against their license if an arrest took place there?
Because it was, at that point, it was one incident.
Just like what you have here on January the 20th is one incident.
No, it's not. Here we have 3 different days with incidents.
You
Should I
have,
continue
based on
with
the chief's testimony, you had something that happened on December the 9th where someone allegedly smelled pot. December the 19th, when a 25-year-old waitress inadvertently served somebody who was 20 years old, although this is a smoking bar and she should not have been in it. And then on January the 20th, 2024. Those are the only incidents the city is complaining about?
No, you left out. So December 9th, there were people inside smoking marijuana, observed by agents and video recorded. There was an agent who, when he walked out of the bar, he was approached in the parking lot and offered to sell marijuana to him. He then made a purchase of marijuana and observed at least half a pound of marijuana in the car that he made the purchase from. And
Now,
then
was
that
that an
individual
employee?
was later seen going back into the bar to smoke marijuana. So you
Was that
left-
an employee?
Don't believe that was an employee.
So what you're saying is that the conduct of an individual under circumstances like that is sufficient to take away the license of these gentlemen that are operating Highlanders?
The conduct of the individual was done in plain view of all the employees who made no attempt to stop it.
Were you there?
I was not.
Would you bring your witness in here and let the council hear about that firsthand?
I will not.
So we have to rely on somebody's statements without being able to corroborate it.
Well, and should the city have to continue to suffer an establishment that allows these kind of activities pending a long criminal investigation that is going on that will take a long time to have a resolution?
In addition, you listed out the offenses. I think you said there was 2. Also, on January 20th, one of the agents was sitting at a table inside the restaurant when a patron approached them and offered to smoke marijuana with them. The agents declined. That person was then later seen smoking marijuana in the restaurant.
Not an employee, but a person who is there.
Not employee, but it was in front of the employees. And then if
How
you
do
want
you
me
know
to
that?
continue.
I believe this was covered on Thursday night, where the explanation was that the employees did not take any action to remove those patrons that were smoking, rolling, selling marijuana. And it was all done in plain sight of all of the employees.
And that's
Employees,
a-
in fact, were mingling with those individuals, but
And
that
that's a-
information was testified to by Chief Sparks.
But that's a statement made by somebody not in this tribunal who cannot be cross-examined, and you're just making a statement like it's absolutely happened. How are we supposed to defend against that if we
Well,
can't
and again,
interview those people?
this is not a court of law, and the standards of proof are not the same. The standards of evidence are not the same as they would be in a court of law. I understand your frustrations, but this is coming from a report that was made as a result of confidential informants and undercover officers taking action within Highlanders and making observations within Highlanders. Maybe a year from now, we'll be able to look at videos and we'll be able to show, yes, this is what happened, without having to just reference a report.
So based on this having been made a public spectacle, why don't you suspend or postpone these proceedings until that one-year period of time has been established? And meanwhile, this organization can redouble its efforts to keep bad people out of their restaurant.
I would yield to the vice chair on that. However, I believe that there are still some questions that need to take place, certainly on my end, but also if you have any additional witnesses before
Yeah.
you would make that recommendation.
We have 8 witnesses to testify. Have you
Deputy
concluded?
Chief, I would ask you about there were questions about the driver's license of the individual who showed that license to staff, to Lauren Earp. Can you tell me the date of birth on this redacted copy of the driver's license?
August 9th, 2003.
And you can certify that that is a true and correct copy of the driver's license as it belongs to the confidential informant?
Yes.
And that person showed that license to Lauren Earp and was served alcohol anyway?
Yes.
So I just want to point out for the record that August 9th, 2003 is the date of birth for the individual that was the confidential informant. And the sale took place on December 19th, 2023, which is approximately 20 years and 4 months difference between the date of birth and the date of sale. So that would determine that this individual was under 21 by a number of months when the sale took place. Is that right?
Yes.
Is the city revoked a license to a licensee like Highlanders based on one occurrence as you've just described?
Yes, it has.
When was that?
That was the one I referenced regarding Chapel Hill Package Store.
Is that the only event?
That's the most recent one in history that I can be aware of.
You don't know of any others, though?
The city does not summarily just revoke licenses without cause.
All right, no further questions for this witness.
I believe that the deputy chief had a couple of follow-up items from the log report for the time period of January 1st, 2019 to the present.
So in addition to the fights that I mentioned, 23 fights, there were 18 dispute calls. There were 19 calls for an intoxicated person. There were 8 assault calls, 34 disturbances, 6 calls for an unconscious or fainting episode. There were 2 overdose calls, one of which was fatal. A person died in the parking lot of a fentanyl overdose. There were 9 thefts. 4 calls were made about drugs. 2 calls were made about a subject with a firearm. 9 calls were made about threats. 29 suspicious persons or vehicles, and 10 domestic dispute calls. That's in a 5-year period.
So can I cross on that, Miranda? All right, have you looked at the call log on Allure at Atlantic Buffet that has 38 similar calls? Suspicious vehicle, dispute, another dispute or fight, zone patrols, a suspicious subject, more suspicious vehicles and traffic stops, and then reckless behavior, repossession, an accident, fighting, traffic stops, trespassing, personal injuries, business alarm, and other trespassing, a total of 38 with respect to, no, I'm sorry, a total of 80 with respect to this restaurant, and it is probably less than a quarter of a mile away. Have y'all taken any action with respect to those? Or are you just singling out this restaurant because you're trying to build your case to take away their license in this matter?
I have not looked at the calls for service for any other restaurants recently because at this point, this is about Highlanders, and that's what we are investigating.
What about Tops Bar and Grill, or any of the other restaurants in the community that have the same type of services as provided by Highlander? You haven't looked at any of those?
I already answered. I said I haven't looked at those.
All right, thank you.
At this time, I don't have any further witnesses. You may call any witnesses that you would like to.
Mr. Chairman, or Vice Chairman, as the case may be, we had asked for additional time to prepare the case tonight. I do have 8 witnesses that we've sort of cobbled together to talk about our defenses with respect to this. I assume the city has elected not to permit us to do that.
We have decided to move forward and hear your witnesses and at this time.
All right, for the record and any appeal of this that may take place, I would respectfully to the council and to the staff lodge an objection to that on the grounds that we've not had adequate opportunity to prepare the case. I sort of feel like, maybe I'm accustomed to civil proceedings in which you have the opportunity to look at testimony that's provided by persons that are going to be used against you. But what we're facing is our clients, the city has shielded those witnesses who can provide data we need to prepare. So I respectfully say that for the record. And I have a number of individuals who are ongoing customers of the organization, and I'll just call them one by one. They're already sworn. So Deborah Eubanks, if you would come forward. And then just in order, following that will be Terry Eubanks, Donna Callahan, Jimmy Smith, Judy Peel, and Bobby Peel. Could y'all just line up and come forward, please?
Mr. Fowler, just a reminder, remind your witnesses that they restate their name and their address
Yes,
for
sir.
the record.
I'll do that, and
Yes,
we'll
sir.
be less than 3 minutes each. Restate your name for the council, and I'll ask you some questions.
Good evening.
Good
My name is
evening.
Deborah Shreve.
I said Eubanks, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Could you provide the address?
My address is 624 Emerald Drive in Villa Rica.
Do you regularly frequent Highlanders?
Yes,
How often?
3-4 times a week.
All right. You enjoy your time there?
Absolutely.
Would you just explain to the council how you see the ambiance, the nature of the restaurant when you're there?
Everybody's very friendly. It's like Cheers. Everybody knows everybody. There's, especially during football season, that's the place to go. Everybody's watching football. And we get, like I said, we gather there 3, 4, or 5 times a week, and never experienced anything wrong.
You heard is it the deputy chief? I didn't catch that earlier. Have you heard what was said about activities? Have you ever observed anything like that?
No, sir. Never.
Have you ever experienced any conduct as a female that causes you concern?
No.
Have you ever seen any criminal conduct taking place?
No.
So what's your response to the things you've heard described about other misconduct by apparently some people that are taking place, as, for example, on January the 20th of this year?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Pardon me, thank you. Are IDs regularly checked on site?
I would think they would be, yes.
Do they still check your ID?
No. No need.
Have you ever seen any law enforcement personnel having a meal there?
No.
And you've never seen any criminal activity?
No.
Have you seen any conduct that you would regard as being detrimental to the public health, safety, and welfare?
No, sir.
That's all. Questions?
How often do you go to Highlanders?
3, 4, 5 times a week.
What time of day do you typically go?
Between 5 and, say, 6:30, 7.
Have you ever been there after 9 p.m.?
Years ago, yes.
But in the last 2 years?
No.
And do you ever remember getting your ID checked at Highlanders?
Early on, years ago, yes.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have
Mhm.
any further questions.
Nope, just one more. Is there any reason why you don't go late at night?
It's past my bedtime.
Okay. Thank you. Terry, state your full name for the record, please.
My name's Terry Eubanks. I live at 8541 St. Andrews Parkway, Winston, Georgia.
How long you lived in Douglas County?
Since 94,
Do
a
you
long time ago.
Do you frequent Highlanders?
Yes, sir.
And would you just explain to the council how often you go?
I'm a big football fan. During college football, pro football, I like to see it, multiple games on TV. I can't see it in my home. The staff's always been polite. Service has always been good. It's close. I've had good times in there, met friendships.
This is an attempt, as you've heard, by the city to revoke the alcoholic beverage license for these
Yes, sir.
gentlemen. Have you seen anything taking place in that restaurant that would cause you concern?
No, sir. I'm usually not there past about 8 o'clock. However, on those rare occasions it's Georgia's playing a late game, if it's a 8 o'clock prime time game, then I might be there a little later for that. But that's usually few and far between. But of the times that I'm there during the day and during the almost nighttime, I've not seen anything of that nature in my time going.
If Georgia's playing and not doing well, do you get upset?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Have
I've
you-
tore up a few hats on that one.
Have you observed any conduct there that causes you concern that might result in any kind of criminal activity?
No, sir.
Was your ID checked originally?
Originally it was. I'm 67 years old and staff knows me by now by heart, so.
Have you ever seen what would appear to you to be an underage person whose ID was not checked?
No, sir. I've not witnessed that at all.
Have you seen anything that would be concerned for the public health, safety, and welfare of other persons that might come into Highlanders?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Witness?
Have you ever had your ID checked at Highlanders?
It was probably about 13 years ago.
Okay. And how often do you go? You may have already answered that.
I probably go, 3-4 times a week. Depends on, if there's sport. I might go a little longer if it's football season. Summertime, I may, because I'm traveling a lot too, so a couple times during the summer, things like that.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a seat. Donna? State your full name and address for the record.
My name's Donna Cahalan, 668 North Kingsley Drive, Lithia Springs, Georgia.
How do you spell your last name?
Cahalan.
All right, thank you. You go to Highlanders very often?
I do.
Would you tell the council how often?
We go about 3 times a week.
Who is we?
Me and Jimmy.
All right.
That one.
What have you observed? And you can address the answers to them. What have you observed when you've been there?
The staff's always real attentive. We have had them escort people out that was being unruly. They have come to our table and we've asked the management to come over and take them away, and they do, and they take them outside. They take them off the premises. Everything we've ever asked, and they tend to look out for their customers. They tend to take care of us,
What type of things were happening that you saw people removed from the premises?
This one obnoxious drunk man was hanging all over the table, flirting and messing with the women at the table, and we're all married or at least dating in relationships. So, we asked Highlanders to come over and remove him, and they did. They came and escorted him out because he'd been drinking. They offered him a ride home or an Uber, but, he didn't want no help at that point, so.
Have you seen anything like that on any other occasion?
I've seen them call the cops on people that's being unruly because sometimes it's a young lady that's by herself, and they're
Yes,
not
ma'am.
going to be able to approach a male and get him out. So I have seen them call the cops for help. So their calls is not, because it should be calls to the cops.
A moment ago, the deputy chief reported an incident on a call sheet in which they had to respond to deal with somebody
Right.
at the restaurant. Would that be the type of thing that
Yeah,
the
if-
deputy chief talked about a
Yeah,
moment
if the
ago?
young ladies are there by themselves, in between the management taking a break or something, yeah, they'll have to call sometimes to get some people removed, and that's, to me, is reasonable.
Would you call that an example of Highlanders cooperating with local police?
I would, and I would call it also them taking care of the customers that go in there and know how to act.
Have you ever heard of them giving criminal trespass warnings to individuals saying, don't come back anymore?
Once they take them, we don't follow them outside. We let them handle their business. They take them outside, they do whatever. I don't know whether they tell them not to come back, what they do.
This is an example of about 25 criminal trespass warnings that were issued by Highlander to certain individuals. You've never seen them do that on any particular
I've never seen them
occasions?
giving it. But like I said, once they take them from our table and remove them, then they handle the situation.
Do you ever see IDs being checked by persons who are not as old as you and I might be?
Actually, I've had mine checked by some of the newer waitresses when they first came on. I'm like, oh, Lord. And I had to go out to the car and get it because I leave it in the car. So,
Have you-
yes.
Have you ever seen a situation in which you personally thought that an underage person was being provided alcoholic beverages?
No, sir.
Have you seen any criminal activity taking place, such as marijuana being smoked or marijuana cigarettes being rolled or anything like that?
No, sir.
Your witness?
Do people smoke?
Yes, it's a smoking bar.
And have you ever had to show your ID to enter Highlanders?
Not to enter.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Yes, sir. State your full name.
Jimmy Smith, 668 North Kingsley Drive, Lithia Springs, Georgia.
How frequently do you go to Highlanders?
It varies. Summertime, 2-3 times a week. Football season, 3-4 times a week.
Would you describe for the council what you sense of the atmosphere there for a person like yourself?
To me, it's just a place to hang out with friends and have a good time. I mean, we know everybody comes to the bar just about. I mean, yeah, you got people that come in you've never seen before, but it's rare.
Do you ever see any police personnel there?
I have seen police persons there. They came in, they went to the bar, and they left, but that's about all I've ever seen.
What were they doing at the bar?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
Did they stay for a beverage?
No.
Just came in to check on something?
Yes, sir.
You ever seen anybody being arrested on site?
No.
Have you ever been carded? That is, they look at your ID.
Probably about 5 years ago. I've been going there, I don't know, 10 years. But yeah, every now and then somebody, you know, they'll card you. And I have to remind them I'm only 21.
Well, congratulations. This is an attempt by the city to, as you've heard, take away the alcoholic beverage license. Are there any circumstances in which you think that might be appropriate?
I think you'd be doing us an injustice. I mean, that's our place. I mean, that's where we go, that's where we spend our time, that's where we hang out with our friends.
Do you believe
I don't
that-
think it's as bad a place as they're making it out to be. I've been going there for years. I just don't see it.
Do you believe management does its dead level best to keep undesirables out?
I think they do what they can. I don't think you can keep undesirables out. I mean, you can tell them not to come in, but you can, I mean, when they come in, you find out they're bad, you get them out, but you can't stop them from coming in.
Have you seen the Highlanders management dealing with people who are undesirable and are removed?
Yes.
Your witness.
What time of day do you typically go to Highlanders?
It varies, ma'am. Normally, we're going to get there around 3 o'clock, and we're going to stay till 7. On Sundays, if the Falcons are playing, we're going to get there 1, and we're going to stay till 6. And like Terry said, if it's a late football game, we may get there at 5 and stay till 9. It's all over the board. But I'd say average times we're there, 3 to 6.
You were talking about, undesirable people.
Mhm.
What kinds of people do you consider to be undesirable people?
I don't know.
Like,
Well, I mean, that come in Highlanders?
well, just in general, what kind of people do you think you'd rather not be around?
People that start trouble, people that are agitators. I mean, I want to go to the bar and have a good time. I don't want to go to the bar and argue and fight. That's not why I go to bars.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any more questions.
Thank you, Jimmy. Judy, would you tell the council your full name, please?
Judy Peel, 3555 Yoko Lane, Douglasville, Georgia.
All right, excuse me. All right, do you go to Highlanders?
I do.
Would you describe to the council your experience with that as a restaurant?
I've been going there quite a while, especially since I retired. A lot of retired people meet there, like they said, in the afternoons, just to get out of the house and meet people. I'm on a bowling team. We meet there after we bowl on Wednesdays to eat wings. And we just like getting out and meeting people instead of staying home by yourself all the time.
Do you go by with a group of women?
Yes.
You ever feel danger?
No, not at all.
You feel fully comfortable as a female?
Absolutely, yeah.
How late do you stay?
I don't stay very often late. Usually, like they said, we'll go about 3 o'clock, and we'll stay at about 6:30, something
right.
like that. Except during football season. It's always different. We're football teams. I guess y'all figured that out.
So what if the Bulldogs are playing the evening game?
Normally, my husband and I will go, and we'll stay till halftime and then go home. We're not out very late at night.
9 o'clock?
If that late.
Have you ever experienced any conduct on site that gives you reason for concern?
No, no. There was one homeless guy used to come in there, and they let him, come in, I guess, to get out of the cold or whatever, but he got to be a problem. He was riding a skateboard inside the restaurant. He ended up busting a glass door, so they had to ask him not to come back.
Have you ever seen anybody removed from the facility other than that guy?
Other than a medical issue that happened once, they called the ambulance.
What happened?
A guy passed out, didn't know why. So the ambulance, they came in, put him on a stretcher. I don't know what happened to
Did
him.
that guy later die?
No, not that I'm aware of.
The deputy chief mentioned some illustrations of what he described as being inappropriate conduct on site, at worst, felony conduct. Have you ever observed any of that?
No, no.
You think it would be appropriate for the city council to revoke the license of this organization?
I do not. I
Would you
think if this did happen, as I said, I don't think you should do that based on this incident. Give them time to correct the problem.
Have you ever seen any underage person supplied alcohol?
I have not. Matter of fact, 2 days ago, I saw them card 3 ladies that came in.
And do you have an idea generally of what their ages were?
They looked to be about in their late 30s.
All right. Have you ever seen them give a criminal trespass warning to anyone?
Not personally, no.
Did you know the name of the cook the cook in the kitchen who was given criminal?
We called him T.Y.
And do you know what happened with him?
I never suspected what they said was going on. Of course, I guess I could be a little naive. But as far as I know, what I heard, and I don't know this for a fact either, he got locked up, and he's out on bond as far as I know.
Did you ever see him engage in any conduct that appeared to be suspicious to you of a criminal nature?
No, I don't believe anybody in there would do that in front of me because I don't put up with shenanigans. I'm kind of the mom of the place. So if they did it, they would hide it from me, I'm sure.
Okay, thank you. Miranda.
Have you ever been asked to show your ID at Highlanders?
If they did years ago, I don't remember.
Okay.
But no, I'm 69. I don't think that's appropriate when you're 69 years old.
And have you witnessed individuals smoking in the bar?
Cigarettes, yes.
And have you ever had to show your ID to get into Highlanders?
No.
Okay, thank you.
One more question. Ms. Earp, what was her first name?
Lauren,
Do you know her?
I do.
Would you describe for the council how you feel about her capabilities as a waitress?
I think Lauren's the best server, one of the best I've ever seen. And I think she's very reputable. If she made a mistake, I'm sorry about that. But as far as I know, she doesn't even drink. And I would trust her with anything I have.
All right. Have you found, just by observation, that she faithfully cards persons who appear to be younger than you and I are?
Right, yes.
Would you explain to the council what you've observed?
Well, when people do come in, and I don't sit at the bar, we have our own little table that we sit at, but when people do come in that she doesn't know or the servers don't know, they will ask for their ID. But I'm not at the bar, so all I see is the exchange.
Would you explain to the council why they insist on doing that?
why they insist on,
Why the staff insist on carding persons when they come in?
to make sure nobody's underage.
Does the management require that to be done?
As far as
That's
I
my
know, yes.
question.
As far as I know, yes.
All right. Have you ever seen any public officials in your restaurant, in that restaurant, excuse me?
Public officials, yes, but they don't announce they're public officials.
Is there a guy named Judge that comes?
No, I think the person you're referring to is, Walter. We call him Walt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen any city police officers there having lunch?
Not that I know personally, no. I don't know many anymore. I used to know a lot of police officers when I was younger, but not anymore.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you very much. Those are the restaurant customers, and just a couple more for staff, if I may. Okay. All right, thank you. Would you state your full name and address, please?
Eliana Odette, 8740 Wolf Creek Drive, Winston, Georgia.
All right, what's your occupation?
Bartender and server.
And how long have you been, where?
Highlander?
All right, how long have you been working there?
About 8 months. I got hired in June.
All right. What is the policy about carding individuals?
So when we're working, we're not able to be directly by the door, but the moment we see someone in there, when they sit down, they are asked to show their ID.
How often do you do that?
Every time. We do know, like, our seniors back there, so every time, and even when someone does look really, really young, the other bartender in there will say to each other, like, something like they look young, or give each other kind of a heads up while we're checking.
You heard the description about Ms. Earp. Would you explain to the council your view of her capabilities?
As a new bartender who was training, she was actually one of the best in my eyes. She is always on it. She is always tending to her customers. That's it. I loved learning from her.
Have you seen any misconduct in the restaurant that is like those things that the deputy chief mentioned earlier?
No, sir.
Have you seen any misconduct that might be construed to be criminal by the cook? What was his name? T.Y.?
T.Y.
What's his full name?
Tyler Blair?
All right. Have you seen any misconduct on his part?
No, sir.
Did you ever see any drug use inside the restaurant?
No, sir.
What time does it close?
2 a.m. We do last call about 1:20, 1:30.
All right. Thank you. Miranda?
Sorry, were you working on January 20th, 2024?
I cannot be 100%. My days are usually Wednesdays. If it was a weekend, correct. That just depends on the week.
That was a Saturday.
The Saturday, I work some Saturdays, but there's no 100% if I was there or not.
Would you be surprised to know that your name was mentioned in a report that you were working as a bartender on January 20th of 2024?
If it was a Saturday, then not surprised, no.
And would you be surprised to know that a recording was captured where Tyler Blair, the cook, passed you a marijuana cigarette?
To my knowledge, it was not marijuana, ma'am.
I just want to remind you that you're under oath.
Yes. To my knowledge, I got past CBD pre-rolls that you can buy at the gas stations. We do need to be more strict on that regarding this scenario, but that was, to my knowledge, what I was intaking.
Can we have a copy of that report since you're using it in your cross-examination?
She was there. I can't think of anything more personal knowledge than her presence during this time.
Can you give us the name of the person that provided that information to you?
This was in the report that is part of the ongoing investigation from January 20th, 2024.
So the answer is no, we can't see it.
No, you cannot. Not at this time. Do you know someone named Alan Henry?
Yes, he's a regular at the bar.
That he doesn't work there?
No.
And does he associate with Tyler Blair, the cook?
Not often. He comes in every once in a while. I don't see him very often, though.
Do you know someone by the name of Lisa Thornton?
Yes, she's also a regular.
Okay. And the cigarette that you mentioned, you were smoking that and you were talking to Tyler Blair that evening?
Yes.
Okay. Was that before or after he was off duty from the kitchen? Was that before or after the kitchen closed?
I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay.
Sometimes we close earlier, sometimes we close later. It depends if people are ordering or if he just has a breather for a moment, because sometimes we get back-to-back orders and then he has some downtime.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have any further questions.
Did you know he was later arrested that night?
The other bartender did inform me that he was arrested that night, yes.
Did you know he was engaging in a drug transaction in the parking lot?
No, sir.
Have you ever seen him inside the store engage in any kind of illegal conduct?
No, sir.
All right, that's all. Thank you very much. And then finally, the owner will conclude our presentation. Mr. Chairman.
Nicholas McCullough, 413 Robinson Road, Peachtree City, Georgia. I'm concerned about a lot of things to do with this whole process. One of the things I'm real concerned about is the actions of the police department. Every citizen in Douglas County should be very worried about their safety. Deputy Chief actually has said several things tonight that I want to address. First of which, he talks about these reports that he's pulled only on my business. You see, I did the homework and pulled them on all the businesses like mine. And many of them are double the amount of calls. He's complaining about doing his job, complaining about coming to help somebody. That's what you paid for. Then he wants to talk about people smoking marijuana in our restaurant, which he doesn't know it's marijuana. He has no idea it's marijuana. And if they are smoking marijuana, why are they not arrested? Why do you let high people leave anywhere and get on a public road where they can hurt or kill somebody? You're not doing your job. I have been singled out, plain and simple, for some reason. That's what's going on here.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, sir. I'll let you finish here in just a minute. Just want to remind you the rules of speaking to this body, that you're not allowed to personally attack anyone involved in the process.
In no
Please.
way, Mr. Watts, I'm not trying to attack anybody. I'm making a statement that it is dangerous for a police department to do something like that.
I'm understanding that. I'm just saying you cannot direct your comments to
Yes, sir.
anyone in particular.
I apologize for that.
Thank you.
I apologize for that. But anyone that's doing drugs or doing something illegal should be arrested. The police department is asking to have my license taken from me because of the actions of other people, which I cannot control. They want us to be the police. Did you hear him say, why didn't they do something about it? He wants to endanger my employees to go around supposed criminals and do his job. It's just unreasonable to ask anyone to do that, not to mention dangerous. Just anytime there's bad people that's on our site, we get rid of them with the help of the police. That's what their job is. Their job is not to go into a business and supposedly watch all this illegal activity taking place and do nothing about it, and then use the these so-called actions that haven't even been proven to destroy a business. Douglas County, the city of Douglasville, open for business? You want businesses like mine, but you want to let people destroy me with accusations? That's what you're being asked to do. You're being asked to destroy my business that I built over accusations that has not even been proven. And you heard Miss Jordan over there say that it doesn't share the same burden of proof. Why not? Why does it not share the same burden of proof? I need to ask my attorney one thing. It needs to come out.
Let me just ask a question. Mr. Chairman, will there be a vote on this tonight, or will you take it under consideration and vote later?
There will be a vote tonight.
I'm gonna tell them. There's a city council member that's sitting up there with you guys right now that works for one of my competitors. Do you believe that's appropriate for them to be voting on this and talking about it and discussing it? Is that appropriate? Is that the kind of city government? Is that the way it's ran here?
I just want to remind you about direct attacks.
It's not an attack, it's a fact. It's a fact that you have a city council member sitting here right now that works for one of my competitors. Do they have the right to vote on something that affects my business?
Mr. Vice Chair, I would address that by saying there are probably dozens of competitors in the city limits, and I would leave the discretion for whichever individual is being questioned for their ability to remain neutral.
No.
I would leave that to their discretion to abstain or to participate in the vote.
Councilman Davis works for the Blue Rose Art Bistro as a DJ. That's one of my competitors. He's in here making judgments against my business. There's nothing right about that.
Right now, this is a hearing about your restaurant.
That's right.
This is not a hearing about Mr. Davis and whether or not he should or should not vote.
Councilman Watts, it is absolutely relevant that he works for one of my competitors. It's not an attack, it's a fact. I've said nothing against Mr. Davis. I was stating a fact that he works for one of my competitors, and he has in his hands a vote for or against my business. It is not right.
Do you have anything else to say to this
That's right,
council?
no. Thank you for listening to me.
Yes, sir. Mr. Fowler, do you have any closing comments?
I did want to ask, is Mr. Kyle McCullough present? And yes, sir, please. Were you already sworn in as a witness, or did you not participate? Okay, so I'll just remind you of your oath.
Was he sworn in?
Yes,
Attorney
ma'am.
Jordan?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
I just wanted to make
He was
certain.
also sworn in on Thursday, at Thursday's hearing as well. How long have you been the manager at Highlanders?
About 5 years, but I was kind of behind the scenes for many more years.
Mr. Chairman.
How,
Excuse me just a moment. I think there's a line of questioning is going to, based on the conversation I've had with Ms. Jordan, deal with activities in this gentleman's past for which he's sorry, but it has nothing to do with this particular action. And I would ask the council to go into an executive session, and I can present to you what I'm inclined to say that the line of question I think that follows is highly prejudicial to my client, and ask Ms. Jordan to defer from introducing that information.
I understand, and I will keep my questions short and within the scope of Highlanders. So you've been the manager at 5 years, but you were involved, you said, behind the scenes before that?
I mean, a little bit, but I've been on premises managing for about 5 years now.
Do you ever serve alcohol
Ms.
at Highlanders?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Jordan, I'm sorry to interrupt. Council to my right has suggested that we take a 3-minute recess. Does that include clearing the chambers, or how does that? No, okay. Well, we're gonna, you're still being,
That was actually my final question for Mr. McCullough, was just that.
go ahead, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we were just considering the request from Mr. Fowler for discretion about past.
Yes,
So,
and yes, ma'am, and that was my final question, that you said you did not serve alcohol.
No, ma'am, I've never served alcohol. I don't have a serving license.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I withdraw that request for a recess. Ms. Jordan, do you have anything else?
No, Mr. Vice Chair.
Mr. Fowler? Do you have anything else for us?
Nothing further to offer.
Yes, sir. So at this point, this is, well, there it is. After listening to all the evidence that's been presented in both meetings, Thursday night and tonight, I would like to make a motion to revoke the alcohol license of Viking Ventures LLC, ABA Highlanders, based on the evidence of illegal drug sales and the sale to an underage minor.
That's your motion, Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Vice Chair. I have a motion to revocate based on the information and the recommendation that the Vice Chair has made. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by the Vice Chair and second, Vice Chair Councilman Watts, and second by Councilmember Estes. Do we have any additional comments, questions, or concerns? I know we're all very concerned. Do we have any additional comments or questions from council members before I open the floor for the motion?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Vice Chair, you have something else?
No, ma'am. Nothing else.
You're not taken lightly. Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of revocation and based on the Vice Chair's motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay, or any abstentions? No abstentions, no, we don't have any abstentions, and we don't have any nays, so it has been unanimous for the council that's here to approve the motion that the Vice Chair has made for revocation. Not hearing anything else, then this matter has been settled. The revocation goes forward. You have anything else, Mr. Vice Chair,
Madam,
under public safety?
No, ma'am. We have nothing else under public safety at this time.
All right, thank you so much. We'll move on then to item number 20, which is other business. Do we have any other business to come before council tonight from the elected officials? I don't see any. We'll move on then to updates from our city staff. Our city attorney, Mr. Joel Dotson.
No business.
Thank you, sir. Our staff attorney, Ms. Miranda Jordan.
No business, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Jordan. Our police department, our deputy chief, J.R. Davison.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Deputy Chief. City Manager, Ms. Marcia Hampton.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to call up our Deputy City Manager for an announcement about our spring concert series.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Chelsea Jackson, 6695 Church Street. Just want to go ahead and formally announce the spring concert series at the Greystone Amphitheater at the Douglasville Town Green. We have 3 concerts scheduled for the spring. The first concert will be April 6th. That individual will be Robin Thicke. On May 4th, we have the Rebirth Brass Band. And on June 8th, we have KC and the Sunshine Band. Starting this week, we'll go ahead and have.
So can you go a little
She said go a little slower. So April
Can you
6th
go a little slower,
will
please?
be Robin Thicke.
April 6th is Robin Thicke, yes, ma'am. May 4th
May
is
4th.
Rebirth Brass Band.
Rebirth Brass Band, that's jazz.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's who that over there, Councilman.
Yes,
it's okay.
Louisiana Bass Instrumental Band. As well as June 8th, the concert will be KC and the Sunshine Band.
Old school Casey and the Sunshine Band.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do a little dance.
Yes.
Okay. All right, and then
Yes,
our
ma'am.
fall concert series, we have acts already, but if you can just tell us when that starts and when those dates are, so that citizens can be prepared, and then do a brief explanation on how citizens can obtain tickets.
Yes, ma'am. So for the fall series, we will have a concert in August, September, and October. We will announce those dates in July. Just like the last concert series in the fall of last year, we will have Eventbrite. So it'll be a first come, first serve. The concert on April 6th, which is Robin Thicke, the tickets will go live on March 4th. We will start sending out information via our social media, as well as all other media outlets starting this week. And then also just a month prior to every concert, tickets will open up on Eventbrite. So it'll be first come, first serve. Of course, individuals will have the chance to join a wait list as well. The wait list tickets will be released as individuals possibly cancel when they receive their tickets beginning the month before.
Yes, ma'am, and we know that these are highly anticipated. We had a great response to our opening season, and just to encourage citizens, if you do get on the wait list, to not take that lightly. We did have a rain date for our last concert, which was Leanne Rhymes, and a lot of people didn't come because it had rained that day, and it's rain or shine, but we had to call the people in from the wait list.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was a packed house after we had wait lists. So if people, get concerned about the weather or something happens and you can't attend, the wait list folks do come right up to the top. So it's
Yes,
important if you don't get your first choice or you don't get the tickets to go ahead and do the wait list, because you will absolutely get a call if the tickets are sold out or people can't attend on the regular time. So any questions or comments from council members? We're excited about our new concert series for spring, and excited to make that extension beyond the fall and have spring and fall concerts. That's exciting for us. And as well, are we going to move Wednesday wind down to the, if you can talk about that as well.
Yes, ma'am. So Wednesday Wind Down will be moved down to the Greystone Amphitheater, starting in the last Wednesday in May, and it'll continue throughout the last Wednesday in July. So that announcement will also be coming along around March or April, that announcement, but it'll be every Wednesday at the Greystone Amphitheater.
So that's going to give us more room to do the wobble.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Any other comments? Thank you so much, Deputy City Manager. Comments from council members? All righty. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. City Manager, we have anything else?
No, ma'am, that's all.
Okay. Now we have come to the part of the, we do have a staff report, and that's our staff report regarding Parks and Recreation for Senior Services. Mr. Bass, if you would come forward, please. I know this is Councilmember Watt's committee as the chair, but we would love to hear from you.
All right.
And it's on our iPad.
Yes, ma'am. I was going to say, I believe you'll be able to follow along on your iPad.
Yes, sir.
Chris Bass, 8830 Gurley Road, Parks Recreation Director. We've been getting a lot of questions in reference to the new senior center at Jesse Davis Park. So we want to give a brief update with some of our current offerings and what the future holds for Jesse Davis Park. So really quick, I'll just briefly touch on, turn this on real quick. I'll cover our current program offerings and events that have been held so far. I'll touch briefly on the construction update. If you pass by Jesse Davis, you see we are in the middle of construction. We'll talk about some of our future programs and our membership database and our platform in terms of how we'll be receiving our seniors. So as far as our current offerings, right now we've been averaging about 800 plus older adults a year, with several of our programs to include line dancing, bingo, and our card games, bid whiz and spades, and those activities. Chair aerobics, walking club, to name a few. And for events, we've hosted our annual senior wellness walk, our Mother's Day hat and tea brunch, St. Patrick's Day celebration. We've also collaborated with Mayor Robinson with Move with the Mayor, senior trunk or treat, and just recently a sneaker ball, which was a well-attended event that took place over at the Police Department's Community Center.
Yes, sir. Now, Mr. Bassett, before you continue, you all consider seniors to be 50 and older.
Yes.
So that's why it's exciting, 800, but it's not the traditional 62, 65.
That's right.
So you start at 50, which is, an active senior, your last portion of your, okay.
Yes,
So
yes,
just to
ma'am.
make that clear, that's why you have good
That is correct, and you brought up a great
50.
point. One of the things that we're looking as we're developing our senior programs is having that active adult component. So we do have some older adults who do like to enjoy the card games, but we also have older adults who like to go hiking and line dancing and do a lot of those different activities. So we're going to have a hybrid model of that traditional senior center and have that active adult component as well.
Yes, sir.
Just a quick construction update. I've provided a few pictures, and actually, as I rode by today before council, they're actually made some more progress. Now you really start seeing it come together. So we are on target for a fall, winter completion. Hopefully around Labor Day, we'll be able to have access to the facility to be able to start programming and provide a lot of those activities that we mentioned earlier. But we are on target right now. Now we know weather has a lot to do with that, so we're hopeful that we can meet our deadline. But as of right now, we are on track. So future programs at Jesse Davis Senior Center. First, let me just go over the hours of operations. It'll be 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we also open briefly on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. like our other facilities. We have strong partnerships that will work, one being the Douglas County Senior Services. I've met with Dr. Gilchrist, and we have a plan to how we're going to fill in the gaps, make sure that we're providing quality services just like Douglas County Senior Services, and making sure we're not duplicating in areas that don't need to be duplicated. We'll partner with AARP and Silver Sneaker to provide a benefit for our seniors because, as we talked about at the retreat, this facility is going to cost to maintain, so we do have to have some cost, but we're going to be able to work with AARP and Silver Sneakers to offset some of those costs for our senior citizens. And additional programs we'll be adding is Walk with the Doc. We've already started and executed at Hunter Park. We'll look to transition that over to Jesse Davis as well once construction is complete, and a few of those others. So a lot of technology classes for individuals who want to be able to take advantage of those. We'll be able to take some field trips, which is something we're not doing right now, but once we bring everything online, be able to take some trips to some of the state parks or other amenities in the area. And pretty much continuing those other events that we've had in the past. Our membership platform is something that's going to be new for us with our senior center, but this is so important as we look at how we're going to make sure that we're maintaining a good database for our residents. So each senior will be required to have an active membership to participate in all of our programs and events at the senior center. Now, the unique thing here is we have a resident and a non-resident membership type database. That's so important because realistically, when you look at our service area, we have individuals that come all the way from Cobb and Paulding and other places to take advantage. But we want our residents to be able to reap the best benefit, recognizing that it was them who voted to approve this project. So we do have that resident membership, then that non-resident membership, from a price standpoint, would be a little bit higher, similar to the model with Douglas County Senior Services. They'll receive a badge. Here's an example here. That badge is what they'll have when they come in to show that they're a member, and if they aren't a member, we'll be able to have staff on hand to get them signed up throughout the year. So we'll look at different tiers for the membership. If depending on when you sign up, if you at the beginning of the year, then you have one membership rate, and then it may be different if you sign up toward the middle of the year. But we have a platform that's ready to go. It aligns with our current software, Civic Rec, which also talks to our accounting platform through the finance department. So that's going to really be helpful for us. And some might ask, well, why are you all going with membership? It's important for us to have that information. I can tell you I worked at a senior center in Columbus, and there was instances where we didn't have information on individuals. And when you get a certain age, there are some health challenges or medical emergencies that might come up, and we don't have anyone to call. That puts us at a compromising place. So it's important for us to have this this information in this database through this membership platform. So, but that is all the information I have for you, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, Director Bass. Before I open it up for council members to ask questions, I will just ask a couple of questions that have been asked of me, and of course I know the answers, but I want you to say it to the public. We supplement the city of Douglasville. We supplement with Douglas County Senior Services. So people have asked me about Meals on Wheels and the bus that takes people to the doctors and to some of their other appointments, like they shop at Kroger on a certain day. or the grocery stores or go to pay utility bills. And so that's not part of the City of Douglasville services, but we do partner with Douglas County, and we pay for senior services. We give a service fee to senior services and all those ancillary things that ARC that provide Atlanta Regional Commission go through the county, but it's part of Douglasville as well. So if you can just explain that. I probably clumsily explained it, but that's kind of how it is.
Yes, ma'am, you are exactly correct. And that was a huge part of the conversation between myself and Dr. Gilchrist. Although we won't be providing those services, what we do plan on having is a kiosk set up in the senior center to where they know where to go to be able to get that information. That could be in the form of pamphlets or any other resources that are provided, but she plans on having direct linkage with us. So any resources they provide, Meals on Wheels and the transportation piece, we'll be able to direct them and get them in contact with the right people to assist.
Yes, sir, because it goes to the counties and not the cities, and the cities support the counties in that respect. The bike services that we have at Hunter Park, are they going to be extended to Jesse Davis, or that is going to be the only park that we have bike, where we used to rent the bikes and ride around the pond or whatever?
Yes, ma'am. So on the recreational side, we will be able to have those opportunities available as well. You'll actually see more trails over at Jesse Davis Park now than what you see at Hunter Park. So we will have some of those programs offered at Jesse Davis Park as well.
Okay, and the Sunflowers, is that the name of the dancing group?
So Sunflowers in Motions, they actually rotate between the county and the city. So they're en route at at Hunter Park right now, but we're partnering with them to figure out how we can get them on at Jesse Davis as well. But we do partner with Sunflowers in Motion.
Yes, so people want to know how to become a member of Sunflowers in Motion. That group is really exciting, and they do great activities in their dances. So they can just connect with us, and we'll get them connected up with Sunflowers in Motion, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other questions from council members about it? Mr. Chairman?
I would just say that Parks and Recreation and the partnership with the seniors in our city and the surrounding areas is just, I just love how it's grown. One real quick question, you mentioned the two different types of membership, resident and non-resident, but that doesn't reduce anybody's opportunity at services, whether they live in Paulding County and they're coming down or?
No, sir, it doesn't reduce that opportunity, but those out of county, out of city visitors will have to pay a fee that the residents would not have to pay.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had. Madam
Thank you,
Mayor.
Mr. Chairman. This is your committee. Any other questions or comments? Councilman Davis, you had something?
Yes, thanks again, Chris, for putting it all together, and I like the way you got the membership, from the small communities, not in the city. So I like that in the badge.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Councilman Davis. Any other comments? Thank you. Thank you, Director Bass. We appreciate it. You always come with exciting news for us.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
appreciate you. Yes, sir. So now we're down to the portion of our agenda where we have comments from citizens and delegates. If you sustain the meeting and you'd like to speak to us, please come forward. Give us your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes to talk to us about anything that pertains to the city of Douglasville. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Kelvin Harris.
Yes, sir.
I stay 6637 Copper Court, New Horizon, and my other address is 3176 Polk Road, 30135. I'm here because I want to give everybody a clap for the ones who showed up Saturday. I know some of y'all be very busy. Mr. Bass, a lot of the city workers. I'm just here, I'm proud that y'all are supporting the chief and that we could come together as a unit. That's what I've been talking about because, like I said, I've been here 21 years. It's very safe here. I come from Atlanta, come out the Bluff. And when I tell you we have a great chief of police, I'd have been to a lot of his programs. And until we understand that he's a doctor first. I love him. I love what he tried to do for the community in the city of Douglasville. And like I said, I appreciate y'all coming. A lot of y'all had your little sweatpants on, you've been working or whatever. But I just want to say that it brings love and respect and honor that a lot of y'all showed up for support. I just want to give y'all a hand.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Thank you, Mr. Harris. We appreciate that. And thank you, council members who attended. I had to do a women's conference, so I couldn't
Mr. Harris,
attend.
thank you for showing up.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I mean, you were there and a lot of members of our community. It was a wonderful event, and those of us that were there were honored to be there. So thank
Great.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, council members. We appreciate that. And thank you again, Mr. Harris, for your comments and always being engaged with the community. And I did call the chief and let him know I had a women's conference. I couldn't attend. Any other comments from citizens and delegates? Thank you. If we don't have any other business, city manager? Okay. If we don't have anything else to come before council tonight, this meeting is adjourned.